Wow, I don't think I've ever been bigged up quite as much as I have been, so that's a bit scary. This is me. I am working currently at Charlie Bigham's. This is the first bit. I think I'd just like to take you through a bit about where I've come from, where I've been. Interestingly, I feel like I could have been part of Wendy's family because I too was from an all-girls school and was quite proper. Although, funnily enough, when I was first asked what did I want to be when I grew up, I had the weirdest answer in the class. So you kind of had the usual thing of sort of teachers and policemen and maybe a nurse, and they kind of came to me expecting great things. And I was very sure about what I wanted to be. And I sort of very proudly announced, I want to be a lollipop lady. And for those of you that never lived in suburbia in a little village, a lollipop lady wears a great outfit, wears a sort of fluorescent jacket, holds a big post up that says stop. I think that was me wanting a bit of power, and leads people across the zebra crossing that already allows you to walk across. So that's what I wanted to be. So I aimed high from the beginning. And when I kind of got to the end of school, I was trying to work out what I wanted to be. And I was like Wendy, I had no idea. It could have read architecture, business. I kind of thought I could have been an artist. Still can, potentially. And I kind of did what everyone does. Asked my mum, what should I do? And she said, do what you find interesting. And so I said, oh God. And I decided to be a scientist. So I went to Bath and I studied biology for 4 years. And when I got there, I realized that everyone else didn't really want to be studying biology. So normally, if you're a scientist, you kind of go for the core subjects. Biology is kind of this weird middle ground full of people that are like... So that was kind of a summary of my course. And I was like, I quickly knew I wasn't kind of cut out for it. So biology involves a lot of lab work, a lot of being stuck in a white room with a lab coat. And there's no coincidence that my class was the only one that let out the locusts. So I knew I wasn't cut out for it. So when it came to choosing my placement, so at Bath is a 4-year course with a sandwich in the middle, I thought long and hard and thought, I don't want to be in a lab. So I picked the one placement that wasn't in one. Yes. And I decided to go and work for Glaxo for a year. And I managed clinical trials. So I was working in their Greenfield office and learn what it's like when you're a healthy volunteer and you get given a drug. And it was a really good opportunity, I think, to work in a bigger company. I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I came at the time that swine flu happened. Talking about cash, that was a very, very smart move for me. So I did that for a year, and I kind of came towards the end of my course, and I thought, what am I going to do? I don't want to be a scientist. Lollipop lady was still an option, but I didn't think the cash would be that good. So I thought, you know what, I want to work in marketing. I like people. I learned that from doing biology. People are fascinating. David mentioned it. Wendy mentioned it too. But I was like, who's going to take on a biologist? So what I did was, what everyone seems to do, got the top 100 companies up on my wall, all the grad schemes, and literally had them pinned up. And slowly but surely, I crossed them all off, as people didn't seem to want me. So I kind of got to the end of that and thought, I'm not going to have a job, and I'm quite good, I think. I don't know. So I chatted to my housemate, who said, oh, I've got a job in marketing with Danone. And I was like, but they do a grad scheme that's just sort of field sales. I wasn't much of a driver, still not. But she said, no, they've converted a placement role into a marketing role. I thought, brilliant, there might be some more. So I rang them up. Have you got any more jobs? And they were like, no. So they said, but we've got this role in category management. I was like, as you do, brilliant. Wikipedia, what is that? Planogram, know what that's about. So I went to the interview, dropped that word in, and somehow got the job. So I worked at Danone in category management for a couple of years, moving into marketing while I was there. And then Charlie Bigham's came calling. So I don't know how many people know who Charlie Bigham's are. Hopefully soon you will, after this year. We're in the ready meal category, but we don't make ready meals. Ready meals is a banned word. We make delicious food to be shared. I'll talk a bit more about that in a minute, but that's kind of my journey. So I've been all over the place, despite not having as many years as Wendy, and now I'm at Charlie Bigham's. But what I really want to talk about is the lessons I've learned. So I haven't been to many places, but I've learned a lot of lessons. And these kind of charts show you the key things that I've learned. So starting with why, start with why. I don't know whether anyone's seen a TED Talk by a guy called Simon Sinek, so I'm just going to steal this whole section from him. I'll get onto stealing in a minute, but you'll know that's a trend. So if you haven't, watch it. It's brilliant. So what he basically says is, there are a few key things that people do when they're successful, when they're in successful companies. And lots of companies do the wrong thing. And this is the basis of why. So when you talked about what and how, there's also why. And what Simon Sinek has come up with is what he calls the golden circle. So imagine 3 circles, one inside each other. The middle one says why, the next one says how, and the one on the outside says what. And if you look at companies that, let's say, are less successful, what they tend to do is they go from the outside in. So if they're selling a computer, they might say something like this. We make computers. That's the what. How? We make them with the fastest processing, the biggest memory, and lots of brilliant programs that do fancy things. I shouldn't have picked computers because I know not a great deal about them. But you see what I mean? And then they go, do you want to buy one? What good and brilliant and insightful companies do, and I'm going to use Apple as an example, is they start from the middle of their workout. First of all, they tell you why. They say, we believe that everyone should be creative. So we make computers and tablets that are user-friendly, that look beautiful, and that encourage sharing of content. Incidentally, do you want to buy one? So they get people to believe in the beginning first. And that's a really crucial thing for me in terms of the way I go about things, not just presenting kind of ideas, but also how I interact with my colleagues. Find the people that believe what you believe. Good artists copy, great artists steal. This whole phrase is incidentally stolen from Pablo Picasso. So if you think about these 2 words, copy and steal. Copy means you do what other people do. Stealing means you take other things that are great and you make it your own. Hence, good artists copy, great artists steal. And I'll give you a bit of example of how I've kind of worked with this in my career so far. So there's a few people in the audience that I've worked with and also that I've known from various places. And they'll all know I'm quite possibly the most chilled out person in the world. I never wear a dress, so this is quite alien to me already. And I never wear heels. But I thought I should, make a good first impression before you realise who I truly am. And quite recently, I've started recruiting people. So for me, the idea of sitting in an interview and asking people a lot of questions and ticking loads of boxes fills me with fright. I hated doing it myself, and I definitely hate doing it with other people. So what I decided to do was go and watch some other people do it. So I sat in various random interviews with other colleagues, and I tried to work out, how can I do it my way? What can I do that kind of feels comfortable for me? And I kind of sat in lots of different ones, and they kind of all had lots of things in common, and it kind of feeds back to this golden circle. So they would ask questions like, what's your biggest challenge? How did you overcome that obstacle? What did you do for this? How did you decide to make that move? And then I sat in a different interview by a colleague of mine who recently passed away called George Blythe. And he did it differently, and it all came down to this, why? So rather than asking those what and how questions, he would say, why did you choose to come here today? Why did you choose to make that product there? Why are you excited to do something different? And what I realised that opens the conversation up. You get all the same answers. You get the what's and the hows, but you understand what makes people excited, what gives them passion, why they're a good person to work with you. So that's an example of where I've stolen from someone else. This next bit, show them the world. So I told you about category management, didn't have a clue what I was doing. And I was given Tesco as an account, which is quite big, good to know. And was tasked with the idea of building distribution. So I kind of was quite logical, science brain on, right? This is a good range for you. These are the reasons why. Really good argument, and didn't get any distribution off the back of it. And I had a number of these presentations which were really well constructed, I thought, but didn't get anything back. And one of my colleagues kind of said to me, "You're doing it all wrong." And I thought, thanks. They said, it's quite simple, really. Show them the world and they'll want a bit of it. Show them the world and they'll want a bit of it. And what that basically meant was, I'm going to give you a random example to illustrate. So you're in the aisle, let's call it a Sainsbury's aisle, in the supermarket, and you want to buy a Satsuma. So you just really, really want one of those. And you come to the aisle, and it's the end of the day, you see the crate, there's only one Satsuma left. And you kind of look at it going, I want one, but. And you look at it, and it looks like a great great satsuma. It kind of looks shiny and fresh. There's nothing wrong with it. But you're like, it's the only one left, so there must be something wrong here. There must be something that I don't know about. So you kind of go, no. And what my kind of colleague explained to me was, you're doing it all wrong because you're going straight to the answer and you're not taking people on a journey. So think again, you're going back into the aisle. You've got a crate, and you've got this time filled with satsumas, all kinds of sizes and shapes. And you see the one in the middle that you saw before, and suddenly that's the satsuma you want, and you're like, I got the best satsuma here. And you pick it up and you take it off. The end result is the same, you've only bought one satsuma. But what you've given is the full picture, you've given the contents, you've taken people on the journey. And that's what I started to do. So rather than just going, this is the solution, I kind of told the full story. From the beginning, I gave people the option. People like to pick. I hadn't really appreciated that. I thought people just wanted the answer really quickly. And sometimes Tesco and Sainsbury's and Waitrose do, but often they want to be taken on that journey. So show them the world, and they want a bit of it. And then this last one, be happy. So we talked about happiness a bit earlier, the importance of smiling and things like that. So I mentioned my colleague George Blythe. He very sadly passed away last year. So he was the person that brought me to Bigham's. And unfortunately, he got a terminal cancer that only lasted a year. So he left behind a couple of small children and his wife, Louise Blythe. He was only 32 when he died. And this time last year, we were at his celebration of life. And his wife, Louise Blythe, spoke and did quite possibly the most powerful speech I've ever heard. She incidentally works for Mars, and that's where they met. And what she showed me was, you can never change what happens to you in life, but you can choose to decide how you deal with it. So bad things will happen to you along the way, but you can choose to deal with them in a positive way. We talked about a positive mental frame. And that's what this is about. This is kind of stolen as well. She started a whole campaign called Choose Happy, so choose the better way. And what I would say, and probably the biggest lesson I've learned kind of up until now is don't underestimate the importance of being happy where you are and being surrounded by people that believe the same as you, that you can steal great things from, that you can go satsuma shopping with. You know, this is all the really important stuff that you kind of need to remember. But at the end of the day, do this, because if you're not happy, you won't produce great work. And if you're not happy, what's the point? Why are you doing it?